Hello and welcome to our countdown of the most popular board games as of December 2017. We're going to be listing 10 board games that have been getting the most attention this past month based on the daily averages of BoardGameGeek.com's hottest games list over the past 30 days. Basically, these are the games that people are looking at and talking about the most on the internet's largest board game database website. Hopefully, this countdown may help you find some new games that you may not have known about yet. And if there's a game on the list that you would like to know more about, well, let me know that in the comments below and I'll see what I can do about highlighting it either in a future episode or perhaps in its own separate video. But for now, let's get started. Well, starting things off and slipping 5 spots this month from number 5 down to number 10 is Arkham Horror the card game. Now, Arkham Horror the card game seeks to blur the line between traditional role-playing and card games. Each character's strengths and weaknesses are reflected in their customizable deck of cards that they'll use. But are some characters more powerful than others? Well, to help answer this question, Board Game Geek user BD Flory created an online Arkham community stats tracker which records and reports statistics from hundreds of Arkham Horror card games. The stats include the win-loss ratios for games and campaigns, the characters that were played the most and the least, and which ones had the most wins and more stuff. If you play the Arkham Horror card game, then this might be an interesting place where you can check out your own performance against the community averages. I'll add a link to this neat little stats tool in the video's description below. Now, the biggest drop in this month's list is for the game in the 9th position, The Seventh Continent, which was at spot number 2 just last month. The Seventh Continent is an epic, story-driven, choose-your-own-adventure type game, which has reached over a combined 55,000 backers over the course of 2 Kickstarter campaigns. And running 2 successful Kickstarter campaigns to finance print runs of the game raises the question of whether or not its designers will be running a 3rd one. Well, as reported on a forum for the Seventh Continent, the designers recently confirmed on a French podcast that they, in fact, have no plans for a 3rd Kickstarter campaign for another print run of the game. Now, that doesn't mean that the game's authors, Serious Pulp, won't be incorporating a similar storytelling mechanism into future games, but, at least when it comes to the Seventh Continent, it looks like, for now, they've told the tale that they wanted to tell. The game Scythe digs in and holds on to its position at spot number 8 for a 2nd month in a row. And as a result of Scythe's popularity over this year, it's appeared on the countdown more months than not. In fact, Scythe was recently voted as the #1 game of all time in the Dice Tower's People Choice Awards survey. And I'll add a link to that in the video's description as well, so you can check out all of the picks that were on the People's Choice list. Now, makes me wonder though, if this recognition that it just received will help give Scythe a little boost back up the list in the months to come. Well, we'll find out eventually, but for now, let's move on to the game in spot number 7. Making its debut on the countdown this month in spot number 7 is Pandemic Legacy Season 2. In Pandemic Legacy Season 2, the world has been ravaged by a virulent plague, and humanity's very survival hangs in the balance. Players must then work together against the game to get the world's last remaining cities the supplies that they desperately need while unraveling the mysteries of the plague that has afflicted the planet. And, in typical Legacy game fashion, each step that the players take leaves a permanent mark on the game world, changing the course of history and resulting in a unique gaming experience just for that edition of the game. Now, it's really difficult to talk about a Legacy game without giving away spoilers, so instead of saying anything else about this 2nd entry in the Pandemic Legacy series, I'm gonna mention that the game's designer, Rob Davio, recently confirmed in an interview that there will eventually be a 3rd and final Pandemic Legacy game in the series.
Season 3. Where are you guys with that?
I want to keep it on Season 2 right now. With the this will be a trilogy, but today is the birthday of Season 2, so we can talk about Season 3 in 2018.
It's a trilogy. A quadrilogy or just a trilogy?
Just a trilogy. That I can tell you.
So proceed cautiously while playing Pandemic Legacy Season 2, because we don't yet know how these decisions will affect what's still to come, eventually, in Season 3. The Gaia Project climbs 4 spots to settle in at number 6 this month. The Gaia Project is a re-implementation of the game Terra Mystica. As in Terra Mystica, players will be able to choose from 14 different factions, but in the Gaia Project, they'll use those factions to develop and grow a myriad of different planets. Players will need to use their wits and all of their talents they have available to terraform neighboring planets into environments that are suited for their particular faction. Now, I personally have had the Gaia Project on my wish list for several months, and while the game has started shipping to some parts of the world, I believe that it should become available in North American retailer markets around December 14th. So here's hoping that this game will be an out-of-the-world experience that we will be able to experience really soon. And speaking of release dates, the next expansion for Terraforming Mars, the game in spot number 5 on this month's countdown, will be Venus Next, which is currently estimated to be released on December 27th. In this second expansion for the Terraforming Mars game, players will construct flying cities while working to make the Venusian atmosphere hospitable to human life. This expansion adds around 50 project cards, 5 corporations, and a new resource, milestone, award, and a new terraforming parameter, all of which works together to introduce more paths to victory for the players. But will this expansion also result in a victory for Terraforming Mars on our monthly countdown? Well, we'll see in the months to come. The highest debuting game on this month's list is Azul in spot number 4. In Azul, players take on the role of craftsmen working on the King's Palace and take turns drafting colored tiles which they'll use. As a tile-laying artist, as the players play the part of, you have been challenged to embellish the walls of the royal palace of Evora, or Venusian. I'm not sure, because there's a lot of words in this month's countdown that I've never had to say out loud before. Players will then score points based on how they've used the tiles that they've selected to decorate the palace. Now, extra points are scored for specific patterns and completing sets, and wasted supplies will harm the player's score. And, of course, the player with the most points at the end of the game wins. So, Azul is definitely a little bit abstract, but is it a work of art? Well, enough people thought so this month to launch this game into slot number 4 on our countdown. Alright, so we're about to enter this month's top 3, but before we do, this is a good spot to remind everyone to be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell icon so you don't miss out on any of the videos posted on Pair of Dice Paradise. And speaking of videos like this are made possible by viewers just like you who have been supporting Pair of Dice Paradise's 2018 fundraising campaign. Thank you all for supporting the channel, because every pledge helps and is appreciated, so thank you. But for now, let's get to this month's top 3 games. Kingdom Death Monster continues clawing its way up the list to reach spot number 3 this month. Kingdom Death Monster is a massive cooperative adventure RPG style game set in a unique, nightmarish world. The game includes a lot of scenarios to explore, minis to assemble, and character traits to track. It can certainly be overwhelming to the uninitiated. So, to help assist with the game's bookkeeping, Board Game Geek user Georgie Boda has created a series of documents and custom component plans to help streamline the game. His list of customizations includes storage solutions, control panels to manage character stats, and other player aids. So if you're looking for a way to make Kingdom Death Monster just a little more hands-off so you can focus more on the adventure and less on the record keeping, then Georgie's tutorials may definitely be worth checking out. A link to those will also be included in the ever-growing video description below. Inching its way up 2 more spots this month to land in spot number 2 is Clans of Caledonia. And one of the primary concerns when designing an in-depth economic strategy game like this is ensuring that each different faction that the players can use is all fairly balanced against one another. It's only natural for players to speculate whether one faction is stronger than another, giving it a natural advantage. So, to help address this concern, the Board Game Geek user Andrew Watson has started compiling results from over 100 Clans of Caledonia sessions, comparing which factions have been used and which one most often. If this is something you'd like to check out, well, you'll find a link to Andrew's research in this video's description, where you can compare the results that he has compiled to your own experience with the game. And I'd be interested to find out, in the comments below, how your stats compare to the ones that Andrew has compiled. And finally this month, back in the #1 spot for a second time in a row, is the Euro-inspired tactical combat game set in a persistent world of shifting motives, Gloom Haven. Gloom Haven's been mentioned in our top 10 so often at this point, it doesn't even set off my spell checker anymore. And continuing our theme this time of community-built game add-ons, Board Game Geek user, which I think is misspelled in my script, so I'm just going to say TG, but I'll have it written out here. Sorry about that. This awesome Board Game Geek user has developed a Gloom Haven scenario viewer app that runs on both iOS and Android. The scenario viewer app displays maps of the official scenarios straight from the game, but hides any of the unopened rooms, monsters, special sections, and conclusions until the players reveal them. Now, a link to more information to this fantastic companion tool will also be included in this month's increasingly crowded description. Well, there you go. There's your list of the 10 most popular board games as of December 2017. And for more countdown videos, be sure to check out this playlist, and remember to subscribe for more board game news, reviews, and commentary videos. Till next time, I've been Chaz Marler. Take care. Board Game Geek user Toy? That's not right. That's not his name. Unless my spell check didn't change it and your name actually is Toy Conclaves, in which case I apologize for my apology. But regardless, I'm gonna have to do this.